how much value do you place on academic credentials, degrees, and courses of study? Let's hear from you first, and then Manuel, I'll take your thoughts as well.
All right. Thank you very much, Koki. Yes, as you rightly said, we do place a lot of value on degrees in this our part of the world. But let me say that the degrees is just the starting point, because that is what qualifies you to be invited for an interview, because there are so many candidates, and we know that from an HR perspective, we look at different things, and it is important that you have the degree, okay? Or if not the degree, if it is anything that you can show that you've gone through some kind of formal training is important, because then it means that you have the fundamental knowledge for the role that you are vying for or applying for. So as I said, the degree or the course of study is just the beginning, because then you have to be able to translate or to demonstrate that you are able to apply the skill that you've acquired and put them into practice. And that's what makes the difference. So yes, the degrees is important, but it is just the beginning. So let me pause for there and allow my brother Emmanuel to also comment.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much. It has been an interesting topic that I believe will really help to enhance the know-how of young ones who really want to get to the job market. I will really attribute 20% to academic credentials and attribute 40% to hard skill sets, and then another 40% to soft skill sets. Now, the job environment is about results. And so academic credential prepares you and gives you the foundation, the knowledge base that you can convert into an activity. And so you want to be skilled with the knowledge that you've acquired. So having acquired knowledge from school, you want to find out how you can convert that knowledge into an activity to produce results to the end consumer, which is the customer. And so activity base become the skill set, the hard skill sets that you need to learn. And so the soft skills also come in as a result of your relationship, how you even communicate, how you behave, because a single misbehavior or an attitude can close a whole business down, can destroy a brand. And so the soft skills aspects are also very, very critical. So I will attribute 40% to hard skills, and then another 40% to soft skills, and give 20% to academic credentials.
I would love to hear y'all's response, but we do have to move on for now. Okay, and let's talk a bit more about this issue of credentials versus skills. So recently, we heard that an executive order was signed in the US prioritizing skills over academic credentials. Corporate giants like Google, Apple, IBM, they no longer require job applicants to have a college degree. Do you think that this is something we can expect to see in our part of the world in the near future, especially, as we said in the beginning, knowing how much importance we place on degrees and paper. So Gifty, let's bring you in here on this one, and then we'll get Emmanuel's take as well. I can see Emmanuel is eager to answer this one. All right, let's go to Gifty.
Thank you, Kokwi, for having me, and thank you for the question. I was saying that in our part of the world, it's so funny that sometimes we are actually experiencing what we are talking about, but then we are not conscious of it. Just like before COVID, we're using a lot of digital tools, but then the advent of COVID really brought us to be aware of the fact that we are in a digital age. It's same with prioritizing skills over credentials. We don't need to necessarily have our government also stamp or say that we are prioritizing skills over credentials. We are already experiencing it. In practical terms, employers are asking for people who have the skill to solve problems, or people who have the skills to be able to identify opportunities and then go for it. So in practical terms, we are already prioritizing skill over credentials. I mean, some time past, if you said that you were a doctor, everybody would be so excited and so happy to have you in an interview. Now, it is not so. You are a doctor, yes, but come onto the job and then practicalize your credential. Let us know you can do the task, you can do the job. And so, like I said, we are already in that zone. We don't need our government to say that this is what we are doing. This is what we are doing. This is how we are prioritizing skill over credential. We are already in that system.
Okay. I think we are already in that when it comes to the private sector and entrepreneurship, but not really in that in the public sector. All right. And I also believe there is a socio-cultural influence into that. Our society has been embedded into believing that credential outweighs everything. And that you can be assured of it. It's this private sector that is actually realizing this factor. When it comes into our environment, it's fine. It can easily come, but the entrepreneurs and the private sector can easily adapt it, accept it, and are implementing it, as my sister was saying. It's happening in that realm. But when you get to the public sector, that is not happening. All right. And so I wanted to even reiterate that aspect by having two blocks here. So we have a bridge here, and then we have a water. So that is the academic bridge, and then that is industry bridge. So you want to find out, how do you cross from academic to industry? So if somebody with that academic knowledge have to get into industry, he has to find a way of crossing this bridge. So I illustrate that you can either swim with a skill, or you want to build a bridge across the river to get to industry. Should these two people come for employment at the industry sector, I ask the two of you, how did you cross the river? One will tell me he swam. The other one will tell me he built a bridge. Now, ask me, how will I consider these two? Which of them will I consider? I'm going to consider the one that came late but built the bridge because he's thinking about the future, making it easier for others to cross. But the one who swam only swam just for himself. All right. But this one is thinking of development, growth, and progress. So I can see that this person, when I bring him on industry on board into my business, is going to help my business to grow. And so it's incumbent upon students to want to build their skill sets very well before they want to get to industry by focusing on internship, apprenticeship, and volunteerism. Because in this new normal, most industries will want to engage people who are ready cooked, well prepared to deliver. And so this is what I'll say. It will come into our sector. Private sector entrepreneurs have welcomed it, but the socio-cultural challenge that we have in our society might fight it unless government bring a policy and recognizes that it's going to help develop the economy. Bring in a policy measure, then it can help diffuse the socio-cultural challenge and help it to infuse the entire society.
Okay. So, Yao, how is this new era of social distancing and remote working, how is that going to influence practical skills training for a lot of people? Because truth be told, it'll be a bit difficult to get that kind of experience when there are a lot of restrictions on movement, and when now you require a lot of people to work from home or from wherever, and you have to maintain a certain safe distance because of COVID. So how is that going to affect people being able to get those practical?
So it's a very important issue that you have raised, and we are seeing it unfold before our very eyes. And the answer is, that is the future. We cannot run from it. We better embrace it. And there are a lot of issues around it in terms of accreditation and validation and all that. But I also know, and we know, that there are some institutions that are international, that are well accredited. You can talk about the likes of LinkedIn Learning, and it's something that we have adopted in our organization even before COVID came. So we encourage our people to go and learn new skills, and then also come and validate that with us when they are they complete those courses. So it's something that is the new way of learning. We can't run away with it. We have to live with it. And it's as valid, and I would say some of these courses, because of the practicality and the way that they look at things, they are so much important. You can see the value that you can draw from them, and it is directly applicable to whatever you are doing. So yes, we are in digitization, we are in an era of restriction and so on. And please, this is the way we have to go, okay? And some organizations have already started, some are just now catching the train, but we don't have a choice. We don't have a choice. That is the way to go.
Thank you, We're segueing to online learning. And this is the way a lot of people are going now. And it's a very convenient way to boost your credentials, to learn a new skill, to learn a new profession, sometimes online. Now, with all of this happening, quarantine, isolation, restricting our movement, you've got all of these online courses. What is your opinion of job seekers who come in with online credentials or credentials from virtual institutions? Do they carry the same weight as brick and mortar institutions? Are you skeptical about the origin of some of these credentials, or are they perfectly acceptable to you? Let's go to Gifty, then Emmanuel, and Yao as well. We'll get your take on this one.
Thank you so much, Kokui. I mean, sometimes we are skeptical about the qualifications or degrees from these online or virtual institutions, but like Yao said, we cannot run away from the fact that we are in a new normal. And even like I always say, before COVID, we still had institutions that were running online courses and people were enrolling. So I wouldn't trash it, but my advice, however, will be that before you enroll in such an institution, you need to run some background checks just to be sure that these institutions are credible. Now, how do you do it? You can decide to go on their website and try as much as possible to read and get a lot of information. If the institution is credible enough, then we would have information on the courses or programs they run, would have a lot of information on their faculty, would have a lot of information on their alumni network. And then also you can run another check by the alumni, just so that you are sure that this institution is credible enough and you can enroll. But then we cannot, like Yao said, we cannot leave or trash them, because this is our new normal. Whether we like it or not, this is our new normal. Just that we need to be very careful and advise, yes, our prospective employees or job seekers to also watch some of these things. Because once you get onto any of these websites and then you are told that you need to make payment of your tuition fee upfront, you need to be careful. So you need to run these checks and then be very, very sure that the institution is credible enough. Then you can enroll.
I think that's salient advice. Definitely make sure your money is going to something worthwhile. It's not something that's going to be rejected and a waste of your resources. Emmanuel, let's hear from you on this as well. Online learning, online courses and credentials.
It's valid though, but then to me as an industry person, I always look at what impact will that have on the job you are seeking for. If you take an online program, do not skip internship, do not skip apprenticeship, do not skip volunteerism. Prepare yourself and build your human capital, because in industry, how qualified you are, your ability to deliver is what we look for. And so get the knowledge, yes. So like I attributed 20% to knowledge acquisition. When you come to industry, acquire that knowledge, but don't rush with just the knowledge and say, I'm going to look for a job. Prepare yourself and place value on yourself. The knowledge you acquire academically is good. It gives you a very solid foundation to be able to interpret data and information. That can help you execute, get results for the end consumer, which is the customer at the end of the day. And so you want to see the knowledge you are acquiring online shouldn't just be a foundation for you to get a job, but to prepare you and get yourself on the ground, prepare yourself with knowledge and practical, the skill. It's very, very critical. Let's not jump over skill and think just with academic credentials, we get a job. Then we want to find out, do we really need to work, or we want to work to solve problems? Okay, so if we really realize that we need to work, then we want to prepare ourselves for the job market. And so this is my stake on that.
Oh, fantastic. Okay, let's segue quickly into high demand for a particular skill, but low supply. So are there any skills you're looking for, or skills that you think are really in high demand, but you're having a hard time finding people to fill those roles, or people who possess those skills? Gifty, Yao, and Emmanuel.
Thank you so much, Kokwi. So I would want to answer this by categorizing employees into two. So I would want to look at people who are already engaged and those who are waiting to enter the labor market. Now, if you are already engaged and you are in COVID, then the system demands that you are able to migrate whatever traditionally you were doing onto a digital platform. You always be in the office. Now, can you still make available your services to your employer, even remotely? If you were engaged and then you were not really using IT tools in terms of communication, now you would have to come up a bit, upscale, so that you can really use these IT tools for communication, not only using the phone to make calls, but to be able to probably do presentations and still be able to engage with your stakeholders. So for us who are already engaged, we would need to upscale. Now, for the one who is waiting to enter the labor market, you have a big opportunity. Like Emmanuel said, you do not necessarily need to wait to be in the classroom. There are so many avenues out there for you to be abreast with the trends. Can you apply yourself to a job using digital tools? Then you are relevant for labor markets. Otherwise, we cannot be doing the old normal. No, we've gone past that stage. And so this will be my take on the engaged and the would be engaged.
Be engaged. Okay, thank you. Yao.
Yes, so I will put it this way. Yes, we need to keep up with technology, with innovation. And that is the challenge, because, and it's not just a challenge for a particular set of people, it's a challenge for all of us, because things are moving really fast. So what is important is our ability to learn, unlearn, and relearn. And it cuts across. I won't say that there are particular skills that are too difficult to find as compared to others, because to me, that is not really where the issue is. Because depending on the industry that you are looking at, there are always core skills that are required. If it is insurance, you need actuaries, you need underwriters, okay? And you can always find good ones, but you also need the ability to connect the dots, the ability to tell a story, and also to adapt to the change. Because someone said that digitization, for instance, it doesn't give you an added advantage per se, it just amplifies what you already have. So if what you have is, excuse me to say, scrap, digitization will not help you much, okay? So really the issue is being able to adapt, having an open mind, being curious, and being ready and open to unlearn what you need to get rid of and learn new things so that you are always staying relevant. I will put it that way. Thank you.
All right, Emmanuel, if you can close us out on this one. We were talking about what skill sets are lacking or that you find hard to find in workers.
Okay, yeah. I think I'll just go straight to it. It's academic skills and technical skills. Now, if I talk of academic skills, I'm talking about knowledge acquired and how to apply that knowledge. So for instance, you can be a computer graduate. You might have read computer science. But if you read computer science and you know how to use those data but cannot use the tools to implement and get results, you would have been lacking academic skills, because you would have just gotten academic knowledge, but how to apply the knowledge into practical skills becomes an issue. And so as a computer scientist, without being able to use the computer to get results by processing data and using those data and information, analyze situations and produce results, monetize it and get an income, then you will be lacking somewhere. And so with the inception of this situation where we have credentials outweighing skills, then you have a lot of people who want to take up jobs or who go to school. Some of them just even have past questions, past papers just to pass their exams. All right, so you find a situation like that. You just read, chewed, passed, got your credential, and that ends it. How can you transmit that knowledge you've acquired through the chew, pass questions, and then you came out with a credential? How can you convert it into industry? It will not work. So we don't have to even encourage in the first place the use of past questions, because we need people who can be innovative and creative in their thinking abilities. And that is what school education is about, challenging you to be able to be creative and innovative. But if we encourage using past questions, at the end of the day, what knowledge have they acquired? They've only acquired read, and that's it. They get to industry and they can't perform. Okay, so we lack in that aspect of academic skills as well as technical skills. And when I talk about technical skills, I'm not limiting it to those who have just gone through the technical schools or vocational schools. You're looking at actively performing on the ground, the knowledge, the academic skill that you've acquired. How do you practicalize it to really cause a change in an economic environment? Then we are going. So this is the area that we lack in terms of the skill set, academically and technically.
I wish we could delve into this a lot more. The format of exams that we use to assess people, but unfortunately, we don't have time to do that. But before we go, very quickly from each of you, please let me know 3 skills or attributes that you look for in potential employees. Just 3. Emmanuel, Yao, Gengifty.
Okay, let me take it and drop. The 3 major skill sets I want to look out for in an employee, a potential employee, it's what I first spoke about, the academic and technical skills as one. The second one is soft skills. And the third one will be emotional intelligence. Being able to understand what is happening in your environment by your own intuition, not necessarily living on models. Business models exist, but if you are not emotionally intelligent to even realize that this customer is not happy with this service, you'll be destroying my business. And so academic and technical skills, soft skills, and emotional intelligence.
Thank you very much. Yao, your top 3 for potential employees.
All right. My top 3, number 1 is integrity. Integrity speaks to who you are. It speaks to how true you are, because these are values that cross all ages. So you are bringing on board who you are. You should stick to your word. You should say what you do. You should be transparent. So integrity is key. Number 2, you have what I will call openness or flexibility. Openness to learn new things. Don't be rigid. Don't say, okay, this is what I've been trained to do. Because what you've been trained to do is not necessarily what you find to do. And you should always be ready to have that flexibility, that mental flexibility to always learn new things. Okay? And then number 3, I would say attitude. Attitude is so fundamental, even in this digitization era, in this era where we have more automation. You find that the soft skill, the attitude is still key, because at a point, there is a limit to what machine can do. Then you, the human being, you need now to come in and be the brain behind it. And I think that goes to what my brother Emmanuel said by talking about emotional intelligence, okay? You need to be able to put yourself in the shoes of others and know that whatever you are doing, you are there to render service. You are there to provide solution. So have that mindset of service provider. Have that mindset of a solution provider. So you need to have that empathy. You need to be there. You need to also deliver what you're saying. So regardless of the industry that you are in, regardless of your course of study, whatever you are doing, you are there to provide a solution. You are there to solve a problem. So you have this, service mindset, and it's very important. Thank you.
Thank you, Yao. And Gifty, your top three.
Thank you. Yes. So I would go for technical, core, and you being very sensitive to your environment and the people around you. Now, technical will be your core competence. So whatever you are trained in, I would appreciate it. Plus your core. Now, core, I want to see that you are able to adapt. Do not come into the organization with a preconceived mentality to say that this is how I have been doing it all these years, and so it should work here. No. I am looking for that person who would appreciate that change is good. Who would appreciate that when I am able to adapt, I can learn more. So that mentality of unlearning to learn, like Yao said, is very, very key for me. Also, I am looking at this person who is versatile, who will not say that I am being employed to do sales. And so this is what I will do till I live here for the 4 years of my stay in this company. This is what I will do. No, I am looking for that one who will say that, yes, I'm being employed for this, but there is opportunity for me to serve in another department when I have the time and opportunity. In doing that, you learn a lot. Yes, and I'm looking for that person who is also sensitive to the needs of people around him and his or her environment, so that you don't only concentrate on working to make money, but also working to ensure that we have a green environment. We keep our environment safe and sound for the generations after us. Thank you.
Thank you so much to all of you. I can't believe we're out of time already. I feel we could have this discussion for a lot longer. We really could. And I'm very grateful to all of you for joining us this afternoon for this discussion. I think it's a very important discussion. And hopefully, I really hope we get the chance to do this more often, just to support and encourage people who are looking for guidance in their careers right now, especially in the wake of this coronavirus pandemic. So big thank you again to Emmanuel, to Yao, to Gifty for joining us this afternoon, and to all of you who have been participating. This is our final panel discussion, but we're going to be wrapping up the conference. Don't go anywhere, because we have some comments for you. We have some information to share for you. For those of you who have been on the leaderboard, we may have something special for you as well. So please stick with us. We'll be right back, and then we'll conclude officially the very first Ghana Virtual Career Fair. Once again, thank you to our panelists, and enjoy the rest of your afternoon.
Thank you, Kofi.
Thank you.